No, I think we'll try John, who says that they're calling from Mars, which is an interesting location. John, you are live on Truth Wanted. How can we help you?
Yeah, my question is, why do some atheists hate Christians without a cause?
Well, you'd have to ask some atheists. I don't hate Christians.
You'd have to ask their opinion. I don't know.
Some of my best friends are Christians.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate Christians, but go ahead.
I give an example. So I know Christians in person in real life, right? Mm-hmm. They never behave in the manner that I've seen them behave online. A lot of them seem to hold this deep hate within that they can't express in person, but then online, like many trolls, they release that negative energy.
You said Christians release that negative energy, or atheists?
Well, it could be said of certain Christians as well, but I'm saying in general, whenever a Christian goes into an atheist chat, say a Christian were to go into this chat now, how would he be treated?
We'd ask him to call in, and as long as he's not proselytizing in the chat, then we make it clear that the chat is not for arguments, it's not for debate, it's to comment on the show. And if a Christian is in the show in there trying to make points, it's like, why are you making it to the chat? Call the hosts. That's what we're here for.
I can't speak for all. I'm not the Pope of atheism. I can't speak for all atheist spaces. What I can say is that for a lot of real life places, it's not a great place to be an atheist. Where I'm from, which is Waco, Texas, you can't throw a rock without hitting at least 3 churches, right? And so online spaces are a common place where atheists have found community. And so they sometimes poke a little bit of fun when it comes to Christians that come in, and they take it too far. Yeah, absolutely. It happens every day. I wish it wasn't. It's kind of cringe sometimes, to be honest with you. But that doesn't negate from the fact that in most places, like particularly in the US, right, it's not an okay space or okay to openly be an atheist. And so they go to their own spaces, and when other people try to invade those spaces, or at least maybe they perceive it as an invasion, they might be a bit more hostile. But your mileage will vary. People are people. They're going to be responding differently depending on their life experiences. So.
And if a fellow atheist truly was hating on Christians for no reason, you say for no reason, right? That's your point. We're about reason here. We're about sound epistemology. I would come at them just as viciously as I would to a blind believer as I would to a blind non-believer, because if they're just hating indiscriminately for no reason other than just to hate, I would have them question their belief. Why are you so full of hate for this? What reasons do you have? Are they good reasons? Do they come from a place of rationality and critical thinking? Or are you just being fueled by emotions? The whole angry atheist thing is often a response to religious trauma, and may not be entirely, may be justified, may not be justified, usually not that healthy in the long term, and should be dealt with. But if again, I can only speak to myself, atheism is not a monolith. But if someone was saying, I bloody hate Christians are all stupid and terrible, the one of the things I will always push back on, and I have heard atheists say, it's Christianity is mental illness, and I'm like, don't you fucking dare say that. That denigrates Christians and mental illness. That is not cool. 100%. I would always, if someone's doing anything for no good reason, I'm a skeptic before I'm an atheist. I would question their belief and why.
Yep.
Okay, fair points. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, thank you, John. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think you guys kind of gave a good breakdown of some of the things I've observed, and I meet a lot of people because the place I'm from, there's a lot of atheists. It's like the flip side. But, I've noticed that there's a lot of atheists that are very kind, and in person, I mean, I'm not all atheists, obviously, not all Christians, and not all people, but, because I'm not going to broadly generalize all atheists.
That's a literal fallacy. Yeah.
Sure.
But I think there is a problem online where there's a lack of like discussion, right? There needs to be, I think, more discussions and common ground, right, where we could agree, and then there's areas that we're going to obviously disagree, but I think we should do it in a way where it's civil and we're not biting each other's heads off.
I would say that's maybe more of a problem with online discourse in general, echo chambers, social media, and doing it in the real world is usually more when you're doing it face to face is great. A friend of the show, Secularity, is championing this, like, let's get believers and non-believers into the same physical space to talk about things in a inclusive and friendly atmosphere, because yes, argument and division and vitriol is entertaining, and shows like this and on the other side as well, and TikTok and stuff, we get the views and the clicks if we're having big old smackaroonie smackdown and calling each other as idiots and poking holes in each other's logic. So I can understand where those impressions may come from, and I think it's as much of the fault of the medium as it is of the people engaging with it. But that's just me.
I agree with that. And to wrap things up too, John, if you want somebody to make fun of like r/atheism with you, I'm with you 100% of the way. I'm just saying there's a lot of spaces where I actively cringe, but I also know that r/atheism is.
I think there's like some places like Alex O'Connor, and I've seen him recently talk about some of the debates he's had with some Christians. And I think I like those type of conversations where people are able to sit down and not like, just eat each other, or not eat each other literally, but, figuratively they're eating each other, or biting each other. And that's not really pleasant. It's just, it is cringe.
It is cringe. I agree with you. There's but at the same time, some people really respond to sort of the big bombast, right? I mean, there's a reason why a lot of those ones that are bombastic get views too, as well. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's, whatever. I'm just saying, there's a reason that it exists out there too, for better or worse. And that's for anybody. But look, if you're looking for people who have reasonable takes on things, welcome to the show, baby. Well, come watch us. We'll show you what it's up. We'll show you what we're about. But anyway, John, I am going to let you go because we are at the end of close to the end of the show here, and we need to get a move on. But thank you for calling in. I hope to hear from you sometime in the future.